Hello guys, welcome to the second part of the command tutorial for beginners in Autocad. This time I will show you what the icons of the section annotation and layers do. I will start teaching you how to insert text as multiline or single-line text and also how to insert annotative text. So let's start. To insert text, you can go to the icon located here. And now if I click in the arrow below, I can see two options, multiline or single-line text. So, as the option by default is multiline text, if I click now in the icon, it will activate this option. To insert multiline text, I click first anywhere, and then if I move the mouse, I can see a box appearing here. This means that the text I will insert is displayed between these two vertical lines. And the horizontal line below, it doesn't matter where I put, because if I write a lot, the text will continue beyond that line. Now I click, and I can start writing text. As you can see, it is not exceeding this horizontal length. Now, if I want to edit the text, I double click here, and you can see this new panel that appeared on the top. There are several options. Here I can change the text size. For example, I click on there and change it to 100. Then I click anywhere in the workspace, but the text didn't change. This is because after doing double click on the text, I have to select it first. Now, if I change it to 100 again, you can see the result. But now I want to tell you another thing. The text surpassed a little bit the length I specified before. It's because the word example doesn't fit, so it keeps like that to avoid splitting words. Single line text. To draw a single line text, just click in the arrow and select that option. Then you click where you want to write your text. Then you click again for specifying the text size. The size of this line will match the size of the text, or you can simply write a specific size, for example 20. Then you need to specify the rotation angle by using this line. If you want the text straight, click when the line is horizontal. Now you are able to write your text. When you finish, click anywhere in the workspace and press Escape. To edit the text, you can click on it, then with the right button click here, and finally go to Properties. And you can change anything that you want here. I'm going to click in Height and change it to 30, for example. You can see that the text increased. If you click on the rotation value, you can also change it. For example, I want to put an angle of 40 degrees. Okay, now I am going to teach you how to write annotative text. In annotative text, the text height that we choose is exactly what will appear in the paper. For example, if we specified as 5, our text will have 5 millimeters. So, to start writing annotative text, I will click in this tab and then click in the first tab here, which corresponds to text, and change it to annotative. Now, listen to this. If we go to the layout again, I double click in this viewport where I have the floor plan, and if you look to the scale down there, you can see that it's specified as 1/50. This means that if I want to write annotative text here, it needs to be in that scale. Okay, I'm back in the model space, and now I'm going to change the scale to 150. Then I can activate the common text by clicking in this icon, and I'm going to write the label for this room. I click here. Then for the text height, you can see here in the command bar that says specify paper height. I type 5 to be 5 millimeters. Then the rotation angle will be horizontal, and I can write, in this case, living room. I click in another part and press escape. Now, if we click in the text again and click with the right button in the blue square, we can go to properties, and there you can see the paper text height as 5, and in the model was automatically converted to 250 because of the scale here. Now, if I want to write text for this viewport down here, I will double click on it, and I can see that the scale for this one is 1/20. I go back to the model space. I'm going to find the door in that viewport, which is this one. I do the same process as before, but now I have to change the scale to 120. I activate text again. I click here. As the paper text height is the same, I can press enter. Then I draw a horizontal line, and now I can write the text. If I go to the paper space, I can see it there, and both of them will have the height of 5 millimeters in my paper when I print. In conclusion, annotative text is very useful, especially when I have viewports with different scales. As with this method, I'm sure the text will be all with the same size. On the next section, I'm going to explain you how to insert dimension lines in their different types, which are displayed here. To insert a dimension line, I can click in this icon here, and then I click in 2 points which I want to measure. For example, I click here, and after in this point, and then I click again to place the dimension line. So it's easy as this. To open the panel to edit dimension lines, I have to go to Annotate, and then in the Dimension section, I click in this arrow here. This window is the Dimension Style Manager, and I can edit everything related to dimension lines. To learn more, just click in the link that appears now. So, let's see more types of dimension lines. If you click in this arrow here, you can see all these different types that you can insert. Before I drew a linear dimension, and this time I'm going to choose this one that says aligned. As you may remember, before I clicked in this icon, which is for general dimension lines, and it will use the type which fits more in each case. Okay, let's put an aligned dimension for this line. I'm going to select both extremities, and as you see, it measures the distance between the 2 points. On the other hand, if I would put a linear dimension and choose again the same points, this is what's going to happen. I could just insert a vertical or a horizontal dimension. Now, I'm going to add an angular dimension. This time I click in this one, I select 2 lines, and it inserts the angle between them, and it can be in any side of the intersection. If I click in the arc length, as you can imagine, I can measure the length of the arc. So I just click on it and I can insert its full length. Now I am going to insert a radius. I click in radius, then select the arc again, and I can place the arc radius where I want. Apart from radius, there is also another option to insert a diameter, which is the same process. You can just see the difference between both symbols. Now, I will also explain you the ordinate dimensions, in which you can add dimensions from a reference point, like here. But before using the command, we need to place the UCS in the point I want coordinates 0, 0, 0. So I type escape to cancel the command, I click in the UCS, I click in this square, and I can move it to the corner of this rectangle. So after now, all the distances are related with this point. I'm going to activate the command dim ordinate again, and I'm going to place a horizontal dimension between the center of this circle and the origin. Then I do the same for this one, and as well as the horizontal, I can also do vertical, like this. And the same for this small circle. As you see, I can keep doing this to all the points I need. Now, let's learn how to insert multileaders. To insert a multileader, you can click in this icon under Dimension Lines. I click first in the place where I want to have the arrowhead, then the second point of the leader, and finally I click for the leading line. Now I can type the text, and when I finish, I can click in any part of the workspace. Okay, here you have now a multileader, but as you see, the text is too small, and this means that we need to edit the multileaders. So, to do that, we are going to the tab Annotate, then we go to the Leaders section, click in this icon here, and it opens the Multileader Style Manager. You can still access this menu from the Home tab. You click in this bar that says Annotation, click in the arrow of the Multileader, which is this one, and then in Multileader Style Manager. Now, to edit multileaders, we have to choose a style. It can be this one, Standard, and click in Modify. Now, the most important thing to edit is the size of the text. You can find it in the section Content, and if you go to the text height, you can see that it's only 5 millimeters. It's too small, so we are going to change it to 100, for example. Then I can go to Leader Format. I can also change the size of the arrowhead, and I will change it to 40. Then I click in OK and close. Okay, this is how a typical multileader looks like, and these are its different parts. In the next part, I will show you more options for the multileaders. I'm going to click in this arrow again, and now if I click in Add Leader, I will basically add another arrow for a label. So I select the multileader, and then I will click here to indicate it's also a door frame. Now I can press Escape. On the other hand, if I click here again and select Remove Leader, I'm going to pick my multi-leader, and then I select the leaders that I want to delete. For example, I click in this one. To delete it, just press Enter. Now imagine that we want to align all these leaders, and there is an option to do that. I go again here, select Align, then I select all the 4 multi-leaders, press Enter, and then I draw a horizontal line where I want them to be aligned. The place where I click for the first point will be the new position of my leftmost multi-leader, which is this one corner. And the second point will be for the rightmost one. So here have them all aligned. If I want them all vertically aligned, I just make a vertical line. For example, like this. How to move a multi-leader? If I select the multi-leader and I click in the first square over this letter, I can rotate the leader, but without changing the length of the landing line and the text. If I click in this kind of arrow here, I can extend the landing line. The last chapter of this video, I will show you how do the icons of the section layers work. I'm going to start. The first one I will show you is this one here that says Layer Properties. If I click on it, I will open the Layer Properties Manager, and here I can edit everything related to layers. In this window, there is an icon that I can click, this one, that will hide automatically the panel. To see it again, just drag over that tab. Now I'm going to start explaining each icon located here. The first one is this one that says Off. I'm going to click on it, and it will turn off the layer of the object that I select. I'm going to click in this polyline of the layer walls, and as you see, all the other objects that were in this layer were switched off. The next icon is this one that says Isolate. I'm going to click on it, and with this, basically, I click in one object of a layer, I press Enter, and as you see, all the others just switched off. You can see it in the Layer Properties Manager. All the lights here are off. The third icon in the panel is Freeze. It has the same effect as the sun in the Layer Properties Manager. I click on it, and it will freeze the layer that I select, as you can see there. The next icon is used to lock a layer. Basically, I click again in an object of a layer, and it locked it from any modification. So if I try to delete lines or do something, it doesn't change. So I cannot do nothing in that layer until I unlock it. The last of the ones that are above is Make Current. Basically change my current layer to the one I select. If I click indoors, you can see that the tab that displays my active layer changes to the one I click. Now I have these two layers switched off, And I'm going to click in this icon here that says turn all the layers on. And now everything that I have drawn is displayed on the workspace. The next button is called Unisolate, which reverses all the action that I did with isolate. So, if I had isolate before the layer walls, now I click in Unisolate, it displays everything again. The icon Thaw all layers, basically it switches on all the layers. Unlock is not difficult to guess. If I click on it, I unlock the layers that were previously locked. The last icon I am explaining here is Match Layer, and it's used to change the layer of an object. I activate it, then I click in the object that I want to change layer, I press enter, and then click in an object of the layer that I want to match. So as you see, now it's in the layer walls. Okay, so it was everything here in this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Cat in Black to watch all the tutorials of AutoCAD. Also, if you need online private lessons, you can check out in the channel page or send me an email to catinblack@gmail.com and I will provide you all the details. Thank you and see you next time!